3 okay, she responded in a weak voice, thinking of the pros and cons of the situation. It was a win-win situation. I get a house to stay in, and he gets a wife to marry. And it's only for a year. Free food and shelter, she thought. Good, the woman clapped her hands excitedly. Oh my, the woman's eyes widened dramatically, using her hand to cover her mouth while Angelina stared at her. Sorry for my lack of manners, the woman smiled shyly. I'm Jasmine Hugh, she introduced herself, holding her hand out for Angelina to shake. Angelina rubbed her hands together nervously before accepting the woman's open hand. I'm Angelina Walters, she responded. Jasmine smiled to the fullest and dragged her again to another room, pushed her in, and then locked the door at the back. This is the bride, she announced enthusiastically while Angelina looked at her. Did she mean it? Oh, 3 guys came out behind the curtains, twirling her around, staring at her in fascination. How I wish I had these assets, a ginger-headed guy said in a high-pitched voice while she mentally cringed. He wore a black baggy knicker, a white polo that hugged his fitted abs, and black sneakers. Oh. Nikki, look at those boobs, she felt self-conscious, kicked in and brought her hands to cover her already covered chest only to be swatted by a blonde-haired guy. He wore a blue short-sleeves shirt with a neck collar flared up. He wore yellow baggy shorts, which Versace had printed on them while putting on Oscars. Ricky, the third guy with black hair, whined, "You are embarrassing the lady," he said, smiling charmingly, showing his prominent dimples while Nikki cooed, and Ricky couldn't help himself not to pinch her cheek. Sorry, m'lady, the blonde-headed guy, Ricky, said without meaning it with a mischievous twinkling in his eyes. I'm Dickie, the black-haired guy said, holding his hand out gentlemanly. Angelina put her hand on his as he brought her hand to his lips and kissed her on it. While the other fools are my brothers, he wore Harry Potter's glass which made him stand out from his brothers. Well, we are the little triplet, the ginger-haired guy, Nikki grinned. It's okay. Let's take you over and make him head over heels, Ricky screeched and dragged her to the chair. Dickie went behind the curtains to retrieve the wedding dress. I think this white color would be the best. It's as innocent as she's, he chirped, dancing around with the long dress. I can't believe it, and we are the ones who will dress the future lady of the Hugh family. Now, Ricky paused a little, staring at the flustered lady before grinning slyly. Undress, his eyes shone naughtiness. What? Angelina stuttered, using her hands to cover her body. How are we going to dress you if you don't strip out from this dress? He narrowed his eyes at her while she shook her head adamantly. Dickie sighed. Ricky, can you please leave the poor girl alone? I can't, Ricky pouted. I just love her, she's now my favorite girl. Nikki opened the box full of lingerie, took out one, and gave it to her to change into, pushing her into the changing room. She entered the room, locking the door firmly, looking everywhere for holes where others could peep to watch her. When she found none, she sighed and slumped her stiff shoulders. She stared at the white lingerie with her and blushed furiously, her cheeks and ears coated red. The lingerie was made of rich, lightweight silk, stretching with decorative fabric flowers at the bosom. The chemise fit snugly and skimmed around her body, hitting the mid-thigh, and cupped her breasts firmly, giving them extra chest support. The lingerie was different from the one she had seen because it drew more attention to her waist and hips. She looked at the mirror in the room and lowered her gaze immediately because it made her feel like a seductress. She took her dress and used it to cover herself before gracing the awaiting triplet's presence. Why are you covering those assets? Ricky exclaimed, pouting his lips. He could not understand why she wasn't proud of her body. Millions of models and wealthy ladies visited their shop for the body she had. Well, the person who has a head doesn't have a cap, and the person who has a cap, he thought. Even that bitch was 1% of her beauty. Natural beauty with no artificial touch. Rare gem. When Angelina was inside the room putting in the lingerie, Jasmine had told the triplet to change the wedding dress, not wanting her to wear what the ex-fiancé had tried on, though it wasn't her size. So she brought their family dress for her. When she showed the triplets, they nodded in agreement, taking the gown from her as they waited for the lady in the changing room. Ricky yanked her dress that she used as a shield from her before dragging her to where his brothers were waiting for them. Nikki helped her wear the gown as she felt the length gown kissing the floor. The dress was beautiful, which would be an understatement. It was like a fairy tale as she lowered her head meekly. If not, you are getting married today, I would have stolen you away. Nikki got a dreamy look before he was smacked by one of his brothers. Angelina felt overwhelmed. If someone told her that she would get married in her early 20s, she would have argued or married a stranger without knowing his name. It would be a blatant lie, yet she felt like a princess. They made her sit on the chair and ordered her softly to close her eyes as they worked on retouching her naturally wavy hair. When they were through, they told her to open her eyes, and she was dumbstruck by the lady she was in the mirror. Her gray eyes were glued with well-curved brows, and her parted lips complemented her small pointed nose, beautified with a designer nose ring. Enough of the look, Dickie scolded lightly. When the lover boy sees you, he won't know what hit him tonight. He smiled while she involuntarily shivered. Now remains the glimmer, Nicky said. The door opened and the groom's mother entered hurriedly, looking at her in shock. Whoa, Jasmine exclaimed, I know when I see a diamond. Just some little retouch, you become a real Aphrodite, she complimented, covering her face with a veil. Thank you for listening. See you in next chapter.